Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney suck. They're trash. Should be the last guys on your bench, and if you still have them on your team, I'm probably gonna look at you funny.
What's up, fantasy football friends? Today we're going to be giving you the Sunday slate and the Monday game, but first, we got some news.
All right, guys. Aaron Jones not practicing. He had a big week in Chicago, pulled his hamstring on that touchdown run. We saw that, talked about that a little bit in our last video. So if he does not play, if you're an Aaron Jones owner, keep an eye on that. Have a backup plan. If he does not play and you're an A.J. Dillon owner, A.J. Dillon is a start, in my opinion. I think he can have a solid week. We saw Miles Sanders put up a modest production, put up over 11 points. So definitely a solid floor going against Atlanta. John Mechie for the Houston Texans is returning this week. Good news for him. Not sure how that is going to play out in that receiver room there. Nico Collins is the number one there. But behind him, it's kind of up for grabs. Jerry Jeudy is practicing, guys. So he was close to playing week 1. So I assume he is going to play. I think they're just playing it cautious. I think he's going to be a full go come this weekend. Something to keep an eye on. If you are a Jeudy owner, I wouldn't be against playing him. He does have a sort of tough matchup in Washington this week. But if he's your guy, go ahead and play him. I got no problem with it. Christian Watson, guys, not practicing in full yet. Still dealing with that hamstring injury. He was doing sideline work with the trainers. So warming up, ramping up his activity. Yet to see how what his designation will be going into the weekend. So something to keep an eye on if you are a Watson owner. Guys, make sure you have a backup plan. Obviously, you had one last week with him not playing. Kelsey's practicing, so big news in the tight end arena. Travis Kelce practicing, guys. Expected to play this upcoming week. So if he's playing, he's playing in your lineup too. Greg Dulcich, my bust for the season. Missing some weeks, guys. So Adam Trautman could get a boost there at tight end in Denver. Not a guy that I'm ecstatic about to go pick up on waivers. A guy that I'll shout out for waivers. Go get Jawan Johnson if you're looking for a tight end on waivers. We've talked about him. He's a good guy for the Saints. But Trautman does have familiarity with that Sean Payton offense, getting traded from New Orleans to Denver this offseason. And guys, just in general, I'm not going to go over every little tidbit here. A lot of guys are not practicing right now or practicing in limited fashion. Guys, it's not always a big deal. It's usually just precautionary measures from these teams, especially when you have aging, vets like, let's say, DeAndre Hopkins. I saw he was limited or not practicing either today or yesterday it was. It's just precautionary, guys. The older vets are going to get rest. Darren Waller had a rest day. It's not something to panic about.
First game we're going to go over is Green Bay at Atlanta. The over-under is 40.5 points, and Green Bay is favored by 1.5. I like Green Bay in this game. I think that they're very solid. Jordan Love put up a great game last time. There was one quarterback last week that had 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and his name was Jordan Love. So he's someone that I recommended you pick up on the waiver wire, someone that I have picked up in my waiver wires, and I'm considering starting him ASAP. So he is a good start there in Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not looking to play Desmond Ridder, certainly. But yeah, I like what we saw out of that Packers offense last week, albeit against a, not very good Bears defense, but I think they have a solid system in place. Guys, so moving to the running backs, I think Bijan's obviously a start. You're starting him regardless. Guys, I already mentioned Aaron Jones not practicing. If he does not play, A.J. Dillon is a start. Aaron Jones, if he plays, is a start. A.J. Dillon would move to my bench, guys. But Tyler Algier is kind of interesting to me. If you need a flex play and you're kind of, message us, guys. Ask us, tell us your other guys if you have Algier on your team. I'm not totally opposed to starting him because I think we're going to see this offense operate with 2 backs. I think both of them are going to get a solid amount of carries. Tyler Algier could be the lead pure ground guy and get those red zone touches. We saw 2 touchdowns last week on the ground. So I think both of them are viable. Obviously, you're playing Bijan. Moving to the receivers for Green Bay, if Watson is not playing again, Dobbs gets a big boost. He would be in my lineup. I'd be looking to play him. Probably wouldn't be playing Jaden Reed. Maybe Musgrave, depending on your tight ends. I think Musgrave is very talented. We saw Hayden Hurst put up he was the second highest scoring tight end last week. So, guys, tight end is viable against Atlanta right now. So Musgrave is not the worst thing you could have at tight end. Receivers for the Falcons, Drake London, guys, I have him. I'm kind of in a conundrum. I don't know whether to start him, start Puka Nacua, start Rashid Shaheed. Might roll with London just because he's my guy that I took in the 5th round. He had a real bust last week, but all the more reason for him to have a better week this week.
Yeah, if I'm you or someone that picked up Puka Nacua on the waiver wires, I'm slotting him right in. 15 targets is actually crazy. And he passed the eye test.
Yeah.
I mean, Drake London, dude, is a tough pick because you took such high draft capital on him.
Right.
And the upside's there. It's just that
talented player.
Are the Falcons going to give him the ball? And
right.
I think the answer right now is no.
Yeah. Looking bleak.
So
same thing with Kyle Pitts. But Pitts is again exactly the same situation as London, where he's a guy you obviously took high draft capital to be one of those premier tight ends. But yeah, I know.
For some odd reason.
You know how this guy feels about him. But only saw 2 catches from Pitts last week, obviously 0 from London. So you're obviously starting these guys. It's gonna be hard to see how this situation plays out in that offense. I'm going with Green Bay in this game too, though. So
yeah, I think Green Bay's the easy choice.
yeah,
Easy choice.
I like Green Bay's defense. Are you streaming them?
I am.
Week? Yeah. Okay. So Carter's streaming them this week, guys. As we said, a 40.5 over under, pretty low scoring projected game. I think Green Bay is a very viable defense in this one. So moving to the next game, guys, we got the Bears going into Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay surprised us last week, beating Minnesota. I think it's a gritty team. I think whenever you have Baker at your quarterback, he's gonna be, he's gonna bring that sort of mojo to the team. So it was good to see them have some, electricity going on that team. I'm not really looking to play Baker, guys. Obviously, Justin Fields is a start at quarterback. Gonna be an interesting game though. Like 2 kind of cellar dwellers, I guess. But Tampa Bay's got a chip on their shoulder certainly, and I think Chicago's got a bad taste in their mouth. So it should be an interesting one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Chicago's on a fat losing streak right now, dating back to last year.
I think so. You could be right about that.
And I mean, it's gonna be hard to see him turn around. I kind of like that +2.5 or that +2.5 spread going to the Bears. So Tampa Bay's favored by 2.5 points. Justin Fields, yeah, you're starting. That Bears
backfield.
Yeah, their running back situation is tough. Roschon Johnson was a pretty high valued waiver wire pickup this week. A lot of people did go ahead and pick up Roschon Johnson. And I think that he has the most talent and a path to becoming the clear running back 1. He did look like the best guy. The argument against him is more like, well, he just caught all the receiving work when they were down.
He saw most of his work at the end of the game. So it's like, but I think it's going to be a headache I wouldn't start any of those guys. I think it's going to be a headache week in and week out until we see someone really establish themselves. But yeah, guys, I'm not looking to start anyone in that Bears backfield. Tampa Bay's backfield, though, Rachaad White, very inefficient week last week on the ground. Saw solid passing work, nothing spectacular, but a guy that nonetheless is going to get volume, guys. Volume is king in fantasy. I'm starting him. We saw what Aaron Jones did to that Bears defense last week. So I'm definitely starting Rachaad White.
Yeah, just to finish off with Roschon Johnson, I think that the Bears will see a lot of negative game scripts. So the fact that he got a lot of crunch time work or garbage time work and was the receiving back there.
Funny. That could work in his favor.
Yeah, it might actually be good. And if he continues to be the better guy, I think that he could start seeing work just in the regular part of the game too when it's not a blowout yet. So, I mean, I'm not starting him this week. I'm not starting any of those Bears. Maybe Khalil Herbert, if you picked him, could be a flex, but questionable flex play too. I wouldn't advise it.
Right. Moving to their receivers, DJ Moore, guys, obviously put up a stinker. 2 catches for 20-something yards last week. Not what we expected. Expected kind of fireworks out of them. Did not get it. DJ Moore, you're starting him. Probably drafted him in the 4th round, somewhere in there. That's your guy. You got to start your guys. We reiterate that time and time again. Darnell Mooney, guys, would be a waiver wire pickup for me. Saw him put up solid numbers last week, got the touchdown, had an efficient week on an inefficient offense, so that's always a good sign. I would go pick up Darnell Mooney right now. Not sure that I would be playing him right now. I'd like to see how that share sort of plays out in Chicago's passing offense.
Yeah, I really want to see Justin Fields take a step up in this game. I think there's an opportunity for him to do it against Buccaneers, who is not projected to be a great team. So I think that this is a good opportunity for him for sure.
Yeah.
So I think I wouldn't stream either of these defenses. Maybe Buccaneers, but I probably would just stay away from it completely.
Yeah. Let's touch on their receivers real quick. So Mike Evans, guys, obviously we're not huge on him, but had a great week last week. And I think we stated this in our video. Like, if you drafted him, you're playing him just because you probably drafted him in, relatively higher round. I have no issue with him being your flex or your wide receiver too, especially in this matchup for the Bears. We saw those Packers receivers have solid success. I like him and Godwin. You can start them.
So
I'm fine with that.
Would you go Puka Nacua or Mike Evans?
Oh gosh. That's a good question, dude. You can't lay that on me. Probably Puka, man. He's gonna get crazy volume.
Puka.
He's playing that cup role.
Puka or Chris Godwin?
Puka.
Okay, yeah. I agree with both of those. Puka or DJ Moore?
Screw you, man. DJ Moore's my guy. Puka. Puka, guys, Puka. Go pick him up if you haven't already. If he's still on your waiver wires, go pick him up.
Interesting.
You can tell how I feel about him now. You can't do that to me, dude. All right, guys, next game. Seattle going into Detroit. Over under a 47, so we're going to see some fireworks in this game. Vegas knows everything, guys. Don't think you know a damn thing. Vegas knows more than you do. Detroit's favored by 5.5 to be exact if you're a betting man. I'm not, but nonetheless, Detroit's favored in this one. I think most people would say the same. Seattle, very disappointing last week. Put up a stinker, especially your guy, Geno Smith. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be a high-scoring one. I'd like to see Geno rebound. I think if you can find a better waiver wire, cough, Derek Carr, right? Derek Carr, Jordan Love, as Carter already mentioned. If you can find a better guy in your waivers, I got no problem with you starting them over Geno. I think I'd like to see Geno prove himself in a game like this that should be a high-scoring affair. So that's how I'm feeling on Geno. Their running back situation, Kenneth Walker looked good last week.
Yeah, he's going to be the clear guy until Charbonnet until Kenneth Walker proves that he's not the guy. He's going to be the guy. He gets most of the snaps, most of the carries. He's going to get mostly all the work, and he's explosive. So until either Charbonnet takes a real step up or Kenneth Walker takes a real step back, or barring injuries, it's going to be Kenneth Walker there, and you don't have to worry about Charbonnet for now.
Yeah, Walker looked really good, guys, and that was someone that I was kind of wary about going into this season, but he's an explosive back. It's just the fact that they drafted Charbonnet where they did and added him. But I like Kenneth Walker. I'm certainly starting him. I think he's just a dynamic player. I'm starting DK Metcalf, obviously. He had a good week last week, too. Another guy like Mike Evans burned me at least. I'm not as high on Metcalf as you are. But I think Metcalf's, he's a good receiver. He's just very inconsistent to me. But when he puts it together, he's a beauty to watch, you know?
Yeah, he's a great player. Super physical.
Yes.
And
he can really run, more, we put him in a box. I said this in one of our earlier podcasts. We put him in a box as one of those deep threat, big-bodied guys. But you can really run all the routes. But I don't know, with Lockett and JSN, neither of them really had an outstanding output at all. Actually, two very disappointing outputs last week. But I do think there's room for improvement, guys. Again, in a high-scoring affair like this, I would be wary with starting them. I would not recommend it. If you have better options, obviously go with those. Obviously, comment to us, guys. Tell us who you're deciding between. We always love to help out there. Nothing really in the tight end department for Seattle. You got Noah Fant, who I think is a great talent, but he's just never going to get the usage, and there's much better options.
Just not a great fantasy talent.
Yeah. So him and Will Dissly. But Detroit, I mean, you're starting Goff, no doubt, in a game like this.
You're definitely starting Goff. He's a great waiver wire ad this week.
Yes.
You're starting Jahmyr Gibbs, I think. You're
Oh,
starting.
no. There's no I think. You're starting Jahmyr Gibbs.
You're starting Jahmyr
I'm
Gibbs.
starting Jahmyr Gibbs.
The Seahawks run defense has not been good historically, so you're probably starting David Montgomery as well.
I'm cool with that, honestly.
And
This is the coming out party, though, guys. We're gonna see it. We're gonna see Jahmyr Gibbs in full action. Calling it. I'm either gonna disappoint everyone or
that's a hot
be a
take for me
genius.
too. We'll see. You're starting Laporta most likely.
My God.
That's mostly the starts that you're gonna get. You don't want to start either of these
Raw.
defenses. Yeah, I'm on Raw. I'd stay away from someone like Marvin Jones,
Josh Reynolds interesting to me.
Josh Reynolds.
I think he's a good waiver wire pickup. His week to week output's gonna be frustrating. Like, he had a good week last week, 4 catches for 80 yards, and he's that explosive guy. Him and Goff have that chemistry from back in Los Angeles, but I'm not looking to start him unless you just have some sort of injury bug going around your team already or something. If you drafted Kupp and Christian Watson or something and you need a guy, I got no problem with you slotting Josh Reynolds in there, but I would hope you have better options.
Certainly, yeah.
Obviously, Amon-Ra guys don't even need to cover him.
Seahawks, going into halftime, Geno Smith had 115 passing yards and a touchdown. Both their tackles go out, and they look they were in complete disarray. So I think they just picked up a 41-year-old guy, like a 41-year-old vet.
Jason Peters.
Yeah, Jason Peters.
Dude, he's been around,
long-time Eagle.
I swear he's been playing longer than, I've been alive.
Yeah, I don't know how he's still in the league, but that is something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Something that really worries me with
Thank you
Geno.
for saying that.
13 yards.
Yeah.
And there's in the second half, guys. That was not good.
Their 2 tackles they're young and good guys, but if both of your starting tackles are out,
it's a lot to lose in 1 week.
Yes.
And stopping Aiden Hutchinson on the side, that's gonna be rough for them.
Yeah. All right, guy. Who's your pick?
Seattle or Detroit?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Detroit here.
I'm gonna go Detroit too. I'm gonna go. I forgot to mention the last game. I don't know who to go.
Bears in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
I took the Bears spread, so I think if you give the Bears 2.5 points, they cover that.
I'm taking the Bears straight up.
You're taking the Bears money line.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the spread here.
Right.
I'm not. I mean, if I had to choose one,
Yeah, give me straight up, man. I know it's a hard one.
I'm gonna go Buccaneers. They looked pretty good last week.
All right. So Raiders going into Buffalo. Whew. Don't know how that's gonna turn out. That's an interesting game actually. So guys, over under 47 yet again, high scoring game. Bills are heavy favorites in this one, 9.5 spread if you're a bet man. So for Vegas, I'm not playing Jimmy G. Josh Jacobs, guys, I think is gonna disappoint. I just don't see his ceiling there as what it was last year. I think last year was just kind of an anomaly for his career. Obviously he's gonna get volume, so you're gonna start him. Drafted him in the 3rd round probably. You're starting him. I just don't really like his possibilities. Yeah.
He's gonna get the work in that offense.
Right. He doesn't.
As you said, you're obviously starting
You're
him.
obviously starting him.
You're not putting anyone in over him really.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be odd to see how this plays out with Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that he likes to pace the game a lot more than Carr does.
Right.
And that could either work in Josh Jacobs' favor or against it. So
Something to watch.
keep playing him.
Yeah.
You'll see in the fantasy points what happens with him. I wouldn't expect what you got last year.
No.
Season long out of Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
Say that for sure.
So their receivers, Devont, guys, keep an eye on if you have Jacoby Myers. I think he could be a viable play week in and week out. But with that concussion, he is concussed. So keep an eye on him. His health would not. You're laughing because of what you said last time.
And you just did the same thing.
I know. Jacoby Myers, though, would not recommend starting him. Devontae Adams, obviously, you're going to start him. Hunter Renfrow, guys, didn't put up any stats last week. Solid stash, I guess, on the last guy on your bench. No tight ends am I starting for the Raiders. Not starting their defense either. But Buffalo, I am starting Josh Allen, obviously. He was probably your second round, third round pick, somewhere in there. James Cook had a solid week last week. Nothing
Solid
big,
week 1.
but yeah.
So I got a question earlier today, and I wanted to go over it. So dude said kind of messed up drafting 13 cents 83. So thank you for your support. Thank you for reaching out. We'll go over this question. Kind of messed up with drafting Jefferson and Madison. Should I try and trade away one of those? I could go for James Cook as an RB2 and then flex Flowers or Dotson.
So obviously you're not trading Justin Jefferson unless you like need a receiver and a running back, and you can get like solid dudes at both of those spots. So, but otherwise, like Jefferson is a league winner. He's a guy that was the number 1 overall consensus pick. I'm not trading him, not looking to trade him unless you can get a king's ransom for him. Alexander Madison, I'm not sure how much you're going to get for him right now unless some guy, like I know a guy in our league had J.K. Dobbins and he doesn't have much depth below that. So if you can trade a Madison to a guy like that in your league, and get something solid that you need in return, I would say yes. Like I do like James Cook more than I like Madison. And then between Flowers and Dotson, guys, I'd lean Flowers right now. He looked electric in that Houston game, and Washington's offense is just sorting itself out, I feel like, still. So I'm leaning Flowers. I like Cook more than I like Madison. Not trading Jefferson. Would look to trade Madison if you can get a piece that you like on your team.
Interesting. Okay. So you're okay flexing Flowers at this point?
Yeah. I think he's a flex considering how high his output was compared to the rest of those receivers last week.
Okay. All right. So there's that, guys. Yeah, definitely don't trade away with Jefferson.
No.
Keep him.
Yeah. Unless you're getting like a solid RB1 and then like a wide receiver too. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to get something really good.
If someone's giving you, let's say Josh Jacobs
and like Brandon Ayuk, or I don't even know if I would do that.
All right, Josh Jacobs and T. Higgins.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't even Jefferson. Know. Because I don't like Josh Jacobs. I'd keep Jefferson over that.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to find something that you really like. Yeah. I mean, you're really gonna have to get a great deal if you want to give away Jefferson. That's risky business.
Right. But come back to this game, guys. James Cook is a start. Looked really good as the lead back last week. Diggs, you're obviously starting him. I don't mind starting, or if you need to, if you're looking for a risky play, Gabe Davis this week put up a modest output last week, only 2 catches for 30-something yards. Against a Raiders defense this week, guys, that is very porous. Davis this could be one of those games where he exposes a poor secondary. So if you're looking to shoot for the stars, go with Gabe Davis. Not starting either of their tight ends, though. I guess if you want to start Kincaid, if you drafted him to be your tight end 1, go ahead, start him. But I think you're going to have some headache weeks with him and Knox putting out similar production. Yeah. And then start Bills defense.
We talked yesterday about Gabe Davis.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're not going to hear too many different opinions about him, really.
He's boom or bust, guys, and he busted last week, so you know what that means.
You play him this week.
Yep. All right. Pick. Bills.
I'm going Bills here.
Yeah, I'm going Bills. Easy
I like
enough.
the 9.5 spread to Vegas, though.
Yeah.
I really like that.
That big of a spread is, yeah.
That's a large spread, guys.
All right. Moving into your boys, Chargers and Titans going to Tennessee, Nashville. Over under 45, so a high output. I think the Chargers are going to do a lot of scoring here. Chargers are favored only by 3, though. I like that spread for them if you're a betting man. Herbert, you're starting him. Eckler, guys, keep an eye on him, dealing with some personal stuff. Rest in peace to his agent, Cameron Weiss, passed away at the age of 38. Kind of crazy stuff. Also nursing an ankle injury right now, but just keep an eye on him for your lineup. Josh Kelly's he's a waiver wire pickup for sure, I'd say. If he wasn't drafted in your league, definitely pick up Josh Kelly, guys. Not even just for insurance. He could have great standalone value this year. We saw him put up good numbers last week against Miami, but certainly starting Austin Eckler.
All right, so if Eckler's out, we've talked about Kellen Moore and his 2 running back situation he likes. Would you pick up Isaiah Spiller?
I would not. I would obviously prioritize Josh Kelly. I do think, I think Josh Kelly would have a premier role because I think last year when we saw Zeke out for 1 or 2 games it was, we saw Pollard really take a much larger role, although we did see 1 or 2 different backs come in to spill him to give him some rest, but he was still obviously the dominant back. And I think Josh Kelly is a talented guy. I don't think Spiller would see like week winning type of volume or anything, or startable volume would be, my diagnosis of that. I would certainly move towards Josh Kelly.
Yeah, I would stay away from Spiller as well. I think that's very wise.
So the receivers, any update on Mike Williams?
No, I can look at that now.
Okay, I didn't see anything, so I was just curious. You're the inside guy. But guys, Keenan Allen, you're starting him. Starting Mike Williams, I guess, if you drafted him and he's healthy. So different Mike Williams. Yeah. Rest in peace to Mike Williams that played for Tampa Bay also. Passed away at 36. Crazy stuff going on, guys. Gerald Everett, I don't know how I feel about him. I really like him as a talent personally, guys. Not huge on him in fantasy. He just never seems to get used like he should be getting used. But I'd probably sit him. I'm not looking really to play Everett right now. They seem to be tight end by committee. But
Parham is an insanely good touchdown target.
Yes,
like
he is.
When he's healthy, and he's just now healthy again since beginning of last year, and even going into the end of the year before that, he was on a touchdown rampage, and he just got one touchdown this week, and also got held in the end zone, which gave us a first and goal last week, which Josh Kelly actually capitalized on.
Right.
So Herbert literally looks for him. He is 6'7".
Yeah. Yeah, he's huge.
And Herbert can place it up there. Like, that's no problem. So, yeah, I'd stay away from Everett, and I wouldn't even suggest playing Parham, but it just takes away from Everett's ceiling.
Right. So moving to Tennessee, guys, I don't know that I'd be totally against Tannehill this week. Obviously, I'm hoping you have a better option than that, but considering what your guys' defense looked like last week, but also playing Miami, I think any defense is going to look like that. So not huge on Tannehill this week. He's not on my start radar. Derrick Henry's obviously on your start radar. You're starting him, no doubt. Tyjae Spears, guys, go pick him up. That's another good waiver wire pickup. He could have standalone value this year as the receiving back there, also just as a spill back for Derrick Henry. Those receivers, though, D-Hop, dude, looked great last week. 13 targets, guys. Only 7 catches, though, so you're looking for a little better of a conversion percentage there. Just looked like old Hop, though, so good stuff to see there.
Yeah, I'm expecting to see a lot of run game from the Titans this week.
I think they'll,
because we do struggle against the run, and it looks like our secondary was terrible, but last week we were probably playing the best offense in the NFL as of right now. Once Chiefs get Kelsey back, they could be vying for that, accolade, or that position. But right now it's clearly the Dolphins this year, and we could scheme up a plan against D-Hop way better than we can against Tua and Waddle. So I think you see a lot of Derrick Henry this game, and I think the Chargers will be able to still do both. Right. So I think it's going to be a relatively low-scoring game compared to the 45 points they have up here. Usually we play them very close.
Right. Nothing more to say about those two teams, guys. Moving to Cincinnati, Baltimore's coming into town. Should be another interesting AFC North game. Obviously, the Bengals just got beat by the Browns. Going to be an interesting game. Tight one. Bengals are favored slightly. 46.5 over under. Maybe you're in that area of points, but Lamar Jackson, you're starting him. I would temper expectations with the injuries to that offensive line. Gus Edwards, guys, I'd say start him, honestly.
Yeah, I have Cam Akers and Gus Edwards.
Yeah.
That is a tough spot to be in my opinion.
Yeah, it is. I would start Gus Edwards, though. I think, obviously, guys, Nick Chubb's probably the best pure running back in the league, so he's going to shred any defense he goes up against. But Gus Edwards, guys, is a great running back. He seems to average 5 yards per carry every time he plays. I like him this week. I like Zay Flowers this week, as previously stated. Not really looking to start Odell or Rashad Bateman right now. Would like to see more sample size of that offense. But Zay Flowers, guys, he's going to be in my lineup. If, I don't have him personally, but if you do have him, I'm certainly saying start him. And then Mark Andrews is something to keep an eye on.
So Gus Edwards and Justice Hill, I think we should touch on again because we saw Justice Hill get all the receiving work. He's the better receiver, and he got the goal line work last week. I don't think the goal line work is. I think that could change. I think Edwards could get some of that. But this is also the thing. The Baltimore receiving work is not something to brag about either, because if Lamar Jackson rolls out or if he's in desperation, he'll just take it with his own legs.
Right.
Like, you don't see Lamar Jackson dumping it off a lot to his receivers, especially since it's not J.K. Dobbins anymore.
Right. So, guys, if Andrews is playing, you're starting him in your lineup, obviously one of the premier tight ends in the NFL. Bengals side of things, what were you going to say?
So, just to finish that off, what do you think about Justice Hill? Would you pick him up and consider playing him or just Gus Edwards?
No, I would not. I don't like Justice. He had 8 carries for 9 yards. That's just like not. I mean, if you're counting on him to get 2 touchdowns every week, like that's what you're counting on. At the end of the day, like that's what you're gonna be looking for is a touchdown from him, in my opinion.
Okay, and then what about Melvin Gordon? They bring him up from the practice squad.
To me, like he's third in the pecking order because he would have already been on the team. So like he's not really on my radar to pick up or even be in my lineup.
Okay, yeah, I think I tend to agree with you on all those.
I could be a little lower on Justice Hill than what he can do, but I think Gus Edwards is the lead back right now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that for sure.
All right, so moving to Cincinnati, guys. Bit of a headache last week. Odd stuff, not what we expected at all. I'm saying start all those studs there though. Starting Joe Burrow, starting Jamar Chase, starting T. Higgins. We highlighted the deficiencies in Baltimore's secondary on our last episode. Marcus Williams is out right now, the star free safety. Marlon Humphrey is also out, or he could be practicing, but he's been hurt. So could see some exposing going on in that secondary. So I like both of those receivers. Joe Mixon's obviously a start.
Yeah, Joe Mixon, you're starting. For sure.
Yeah, I like all those guys.
You mentioned how you do like Zay Flowers this week.
Yeah.
It is going to be interesting to see what happens when Andrews comes back.
That's a good point.
If he still gets those targets. He did look like the better receiver.
I just think he's so, like him and Addison, like he's more athletic than Addison is, but they still have a similar play style where they get open in a telephone booth,
Yeah.
So I really like him for Lamar. I think he provides a great security blanket, and he's also a big play guy. So that's how I look at it.
What about? I'm trying to think like something, a question I'd have if I was. I feel like these plays are pretty obvious. The Zay Flowers one you just touched on seems pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Odell, what do you think about Odell? Would you flex him?
No, not right now. I mean, he only had 2 catches last week. I'm just not confident in. I'm not confident in that passing offense right now. I know we're looking to see them pass more. We highlighted that a lot in the offseason, but it's just like I need to see it first before I really take a shot. I'm hoping you have better guys than Odell or Rashad Bateman. That's my thought process in that.
Yeah, I really hope that Rashad Bateman takes a step up.
Yeah, he's a talented guy.
But it's going to be certainly interesting to see what happens now that J.K. Dobbins is out. Andrews could come back. It's going to be a completely new look, Ravens, and what we saw week 1. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting.
Who you taking?
In that game?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go with the Bengals here.
Really? Yeah, I think they'll bounce back. I don't think Baltimore looked good last week. So moving to an AFC South gridiron matchup. Colts coming into Houston, going to be an interesting one. Pretty much a pick-em.
Games no one ever wants to watch.
Over under a 40. No one wants to watch them, but they're always good games. Indianapolis, guys, Anthony Richardson avoided major injury. I think he'll be playing this week. Keep an eye on that if you're an AR owner. A talented guy. I'm starting him this week, honestly, against the Houston defense if he's playing. I really like what I saw out of Anthony Richardson last week.
Yeah, he was electric. Gives it to you with his feet as well. So he has rushing upside.
Right.
Clearly, he couldn't hold up as well rushing this last week, but that stuff happened. So hopefully he's not made out of paper or nothing.
Right.
So Michael Pittman, you're gonna start.
Yes.
I wouldn't start any other Colt.
No.
I mean, Zach Moss is coming back, so
yeah. I'm not like guys. I'm really hoping you have better options than Deion Jackson or Zach Moss, looking for someone to play in your backfield.
Yeah, I mean, if you're really
That's
down bad, I think
yeah.
I don't know. I've seen.
I'm not even gonna make a prediction on that.
There's been people that play Zach Moss or that are thinking about playing Zach Moss that I've
Yeah.
been talking to, looking at online as well. Yeah, he's gonna be interesting.
Find
Deion
something
Jackson
better.
had an absolutely abysmal game last
Yeah.
week, but it's just so hard to say because in the regular season we'd know like, oh, he had a bad game, but right now it's like,
Yeah.
oh, this guy is absolutely trash all season.
Right.
You know, so
We've only seen
I
one
would
game.
personally stay away from both of those guys
Yeah.
for sure.
So in Houston, starting Nico Collins, I'll say start Damian Pierce this week. We saw ETN have a great game against the Colts, but those are the only two guys that I'm looking at on that Houston offense right now. I think Nico Collins is going to be a target hog. Outside of that, I'm not really looking to start anything in this game. Even Nico Collins, like flex him if you need him. Not super. There's just like I don't know, Indianapolis and Houston. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, the names give you what you're gonna
Yeah,
get.
right. Who you
Low
taking,
over under. I am not opposed to starting the Colts defense here.
True. I like that.
Rookie CJ Stroud and this Colts defense can get to the quarterback. I don't mind it. I like the Colts here.
I'm taking the Colts, personally. I can't take Houston. I just can't come to say that.
Colts.
Sorry, Houstonians.
Houston. I mean, with Anthony Richardson, man, I'm gonna go Colts here.
Yes, thank you. Jeez.
Nothing about the Texans makes me want to
Yeah.
believe in them. I mean,
Ooh.
maybe Dameon Pierce if he has Dameon Pierce is gonna have a huge game for
Yeah.
the Texans to do something.
Right. I'm looking at this next game, dude. Kansas City and Jacksonville. That's going to be a fun game, guys, especially if Travis Kelce's back. That's going to be a fun game.
That's
That'd be crazy if KC starts 0-2. They very well could.
Let's just start off with Sky Moore.
Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney suck. They're trash. Should be the last guys on your bench, and if you still have them on your team, I'm probably gonna look at you funny. There's better guys out there. We've listed a few of them. We got beef if you still have them on your team. I'll leave it at that. No Chiefs receiver besides Rashee Rice. That's my guy. He scored a touchdown last week too. Starting Patty Mahomes. Pacheco, you can flex maybe. I didn't like the running game last week. I'm not confident, as you guys can tell. Travis Kelce plays. You're starting him. Don't start either of these defenses. That's it for KC's easy.
Yeah, Casey's easy. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce if he plays.
Maybe flex Pacheco.
Yeah, what do you think about him?
I just didn't like the run defense or the run offense last week. Just didn't look good.
I like the Pacheco play because we've talked about him as someone who's going to explode on games.
Yeah.
And I think that season long, he's going to average out. So the fact that he had such a bad
He had good
week
touches
one.
last week too.
Yeah, he had
good,
some
solid
receptions.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Pacheco for me can be a flex play.
Yes.
McKinnon,
No.
I'm probably going to keep out.
And don't even
And he's going to be the guy to get
don't
two
even
touchdowns.
start about CEH with me. Don't even ask.
He is something to talk about, though, because he did get
He's a
work.
pest. That's what he is.
He was getting the work.
He's a pest.
Yes.
Jacksonville guys, starting Trevor Lawrence, starting Travis Etienne. Tank Bigsby should be on your bench. As in you should be picking him up. He's gonna have a role. Calvin Ridley's an obvious start, guys. Put up an amazing game last week. Zay Jones is a solid waiver wire pickup. A guy I'm starting over Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney. Looking at you if you're an owner of either of them.
Would you start Zay Jones or Zay Flowers?
Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers.
Yeah. I'm a Flowers guy. I like my rookies. Christian Kirk, guys. Ooh. I know I was big on him in the offseason. I said I liked him at his value. Obviously, he came out with a dud, 1 reception for 9 yards. I don't think we're going to see that. He's kind of like what Carter was saying with Pacheco, a guy that's going to even himself out throughout the season. Could be a solid flex play this week against a softer Kansas City defense. Don't mind playing him this week. I think he's going to even himself out. And then, I mean, what's your opinion on that? Because he put up a stinker last week. Like, that's safe to say.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that one, to be honest.
Evan Ingram's an obvious start, one of the better tight ends in the league, guy that's going to see, solid volume. So those are our starts. Who are you taking?
In this game?
Yes.
All right. Can I have a little contingency here?
Oh, gosh. All right. Let me hear it.
If Kelsey plays,
Okay, that's fair.
I get the Chiefs.
Okay.
If Kelsey does not play, I'm going to go with Jacksonville.
We're on the same page.
0-2 Chiefs.
Can we both take the contingency plan?
Yeah, we can. I think we can both take that.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
Because that's like saying half the Chiefs aren't there.
Facts.
Chris Jones is back.
He is back, guys. That's big.
Hasn't been with them.
No.
So is he, up to speed? He's probably going to be on a limited. Like, do you think
I
he's.
don't know.
He obviously knows the defense. Like, that's not the problem.
He's in it. He's in there like swimwear. It's Chris Jones. It's all pro Chris Jones. He's a beast. He doesn't need to warm up.
But do you think he can play all
Yes.
snaps? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I'm still going Jaguars if Kelsey's out.
All right. Same. Moving to an NFC West matchup. Niners visiting the Rams. An interesting game. The Rams looked better than we expected last week, or better than I expected. You predicted them. Over under 45, guys. San Fran's favored by a touchdown. Tells you where the public leans on that. San Fran, guys, hey, I was a non-believer, and I am a professional Brock Purdy hater, but he made me look bad last week. Brandon Ayuk is my receiver, so I guess I can only hate so much. But, guys, pick him up if you're looking for a second quarterback. Not ecstatic about starting him this week, but just a guy season long, I think you can plug and play wherever. Christian McCaffrey, I'm not even going to touch on him. We know who he is. We know what he does. Brandon Ayuk, guys, start him. Deebo Samuel, start him. I like both of them. I think with Brandon Ayuk's boom week, he's going to be a solid floor play. Obviously has a great ceiling. I think Deebo Samuel, too, even though we saw Ayuk get a lot of touches, Deebo had 5 receptions for 55 yards, solid amount of targets. So, I think both these guys are playable week in and week out.
Yeah. Yeah, you're starting Deebo and Ayuk.
Yeah.
That is a 100%.
So, what's your opinion on George Kittle? Because I'm a little lower on him, especially, but he was going into the week injured, going into the game injured, so might have hampered him a little bit, not looking to, use him as much as they usually do. What's your thoughts on him?
I like Kittle.
Yeah.
I've always been a Kittle believer.
You have.
And if he's playing, he has such good touchdown upside.
You got to play him.
That I think,
That's true.
you have to play him.
Yeah.
Certainly play him.
Yeah.
It's not like you're deciding between Kittle and Kels or something.
Yeah.
He could give you a stinker. He could give you a touchdown.
Right.
And if he gives you a touchdown, it's going to be a good week. And if he doesn't, it probably won't be the best week.
Sam Laporta. All right. For the Rams, what's your opinion on Stafford? I'm not really looking to start him. I know you're a bigger Stafford guy than I am.
Yeah, I like Stafford season long, especially when Cooper Kupp comes back.
Yes.
I don't like him in this matchup.
Yeah.
Against the 49ers, without Cooper Kupp.
Look for Jared Goff.
Yeah, I'd definitely take Jared Goff over
Derek Carr.
Honestly, over both of these guys. I think that Jared Goff has the higher ceiling than Brock Purdy. And I think their floors are about the same.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns I think you can expect from both of them probably. And Jared Goff, I think you could see hit 3 touchdowns.
I like it. Cam Akers, Kyron Williams. What are you doing? Because I know you're an Akers owner. Did you pick up Kyron?
I did not.
Okay. So what is your plan? Because you're an Akers owner, so I'll let you, take this.
Yeah. I right now have Gus Edwards in over Akers.
Okay.
And I'm still wondering if I should put Akers back in. It's just that against such a good defense,
That's
with
scary.
that pitiful week 1 performance,
Right.
I just don't see.
I mean, you saw what they did to Najee last week.
Yeah, I don't see a good reason to start Akers. There's nothing that has led me to want to start Akers this week. Now, going into the season, I thought that he was going to have that workhorse role, and because he was doing good at the end of last season,
Right.
very good. But it seems like Kyron Williams, he's not going to go away by any means.
Right.
And I mean, the running back upside just as a whole between both of them is very low this week. And if you split that in half or in a third, I just don't want Akers. I think that Gus Edwards definitely has more upside.
Agreed. I like that analysis.
Yeah. The reason I didn't go for Kyron Williams, though, I'll say, is because I don't like.
You don't want to have the headache.
Why would you want that decision every week?
Yeah, but he is a good waiver wire pickup.
Yeah, and there's gonna be good waivers. There's gonna be more injuries, and so it's good just to hold on to that waiver priority.
Okay,
and
I like that.
Save it up.
I like that. Moving to their receivers, guys. Puka Nacua is a start this week. I'm saying 15 targets last week. I'm starting. I'm probably gonna start him over Drake London. That's my plan. I'm not looking to start any of those other receivers. Van Jefferson guys put up a very poor output last week. Tyler Higbee, you can start him. I think he's one of the better tight ends in the league, guys. He's gonna get volume. We saw Freiermuth score a touchdown last week, so I think Higbee's a solid start. Not looking to start the Rams defense though. Obviously, you're starting Niners defense. Who you taking?
In this one, I'm going to have to go
Niners.
with the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah. All right.
Not terribly against that 7.5 point spread, though.
Yeah, I agree. Next game, Giants Cardinals in Arizona. I think I'm predicting a big bounce back game for the Giants. I think they want to prove that they're at least like a dominant team over a team like the Cardinals. I think they can be. I'm gonna say start Daniel Jones. I'm gonna say obviously start Saquon, start Darren Waller, start those stars on that team. Not really looking to play any of their receivers though, but I like those three guys.
Yeah, same here.
I would say start Giants defense against a poor Cardinals offense. You're not starting Josh Dobbs. You can start James Conner, I guess, guys. I'm not big on him. I just think it's going to be a really inefficient year for him on that offense. What?
Just
Me and James Conner?
Yeah, hearing you talk about him. One day it's like you're like, oh, I sleep on him so much, and then the next day you're like, I got no excitement towards him.
Yeah,
he's a tough guy. I mean, touchdown dependent for sure.
Yeah, he's gonna get volume, guys. Volume's king, but
he had what, 12 points last week?
I don't know,
12, 13
dude. He had
points?
12 points on like 40 touches.
Yeah, I mean,
a little bit of exaggeration, guys. But
I think it'd be hard to sit him.
yeah, it's hard to sit him. Good, yeah. You're playing Marquise Brown. How are you playing Marquise Brown this week?
I'm playing Marquise
Okay,
Brown.
you heard it here,
think
guys.
that he's gonna be better than he was last week. I mean,
Right.
8 points. I think you can expect more than that. He still led the team in targets, or at least tied for the
he's
team
the
lead in
alpha,
targets
undoubtedly.
with 5 receptions. The only thing, obviously, is his hamstring injury, and if he is to go down, I'm just slotting in Rondale Moore.
Right.
I'm not uber excited to play Marquise Brown until Kyler Murray comes back. That's when I think he'll really take another step up.
He's
but-
a flex, just to be a little more clear.
Yeah, he's flex level.
Yeah.
He's a flex level player, that's for sure. Yeah.
And then Zach Ertz, I know you love him. I'll say start him.
He's a stardom for me.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's many. I mean, okay, so I look around in our 12-team league, and when I'm looking for trades, I'm like, okay, where could who would benefit from having Zach Ertz? And honestly, in the top 12, like he is kind of on the border of the top 12 right now.
Right.
So I think you can start him. I think you can start someone like Jake Ferguson. I think they're kind of at the same level right now because me personally, I love Ertz. He's consistent as all get out, and he might see another 10 targets. That's
Right.
not outside of the range of outcomes that could happen for Zach Ertz.
All right.
I'd start him, but there's better. Like if you have Darren Waller, or if you have,
Sam LaPorta.
I'd start him over Tyler Higbee.
Yeah, I can agree.
I wouldn't start him over Evan Ingram.
No. Right.
I certainly wouldn't.
He's a fringe tight end one. That's what he is.
I wouldn't start him over Mark Andrews.
Right.
I'd probably start him over Everett, over
Yes.
Donald Parham. I'd start him over. I would start him over Laporta. You probably have a different say about that.
They're pretty even in my opinion.
Yeah, so
yeah.
he's on that fringe.
Right.
I think that he could sneak his way into the solidified tight end one to where you would be like, oh, that's a no-brain start.
Right.
To me, he is, but until he proves it again,
Yes.
he can't just have week one. I think he can, but he's gonna have to prove it to the public
I got you.
before I suggest
Who
starting.
you taking? Are we both on the New York wave here?
Yeah, I'm going New York.
All right. Yeah, that was easy. So guys, speaking about Jake Ferguson, moving into the Jets, coming into the Big D.
Chill.
Coming into Dallas, guys. Dallas is a heavy favorite, obviously with Aaron Rodgers going down, over under of only 38. So Dallas is gonna be doing a lot of scoring, is what Vegas is saying. I like that. Okay, no. Ooh, I almost got ahead of myself there. I don't know what I was saying. I do not like Dak in this performance. Let me back up there. I don't like either of these quarterbacks in this matchup. We saw what the Jets did to Josh Allen last week, 4 turnovers. I think Dallas has a little bit more of a conservative offense, but I just don't think you'll see a great output from Dak is what I'm saying. I like Breece Hall. I like Tony Pollard. Don't really like Dalvin Cook here in a tough match. Like, I think Breece Hall is an efficient guy to where he's going to get, good production here. I don't like Dalvin Cook being an inefficient back against a great Dallas defense.
Yeah, Breece Hall, 4.88 yards per carry without the 83-yard run. So he's just a great – you're starting Breece Hall no matter what.
Yes.
Dalvin Cook we touched on. I think he's someone that is going to be hard to know when to play. And if you are a Dalvin Cook owner and you want to play him, just wait for the week where it's a good matchup.
Right, on a soft matchup where you can see both running backs really succeed. And now I actually think with Rodgers going out could benefit Cook's floor just because they'll be looking to split those backs more often. Get that running game going more often to open things up for Zach Wilson. So I think that's a good outlook for them.
Yeah, passing wasn't their identity last season.
Right.
So they have the defense and run. That's their culture. That's what they're going to be looking to do.
I got a big question for you. What's your opinion on Garrett Wilson this week?
In terms of what?
I mean, I guess you're starting him, right?
I think he's a wide receiver too for the rest of the season.
Okay. It's just like rough, I feel like, especially going against Dallas. Like, he's probably going to be my bust, to be honest, for the week.
Yeah, I think he's a good bust candidate, but you can't
sit him.
Yeah, I don't think you're sitting him. He's too talented.
He's too talented. I'm not looking to start any of their tight ends. Definitely not looking to start their. I mean, I guess you could start their defense because they're always gonna have a solid defense. The Jets are, so you can start both of these defenses. Starting Tony Pollard, obviously. Starting CD. Brandon Cooks could be a flex. I'd like to see a little like with what happened in that Dallas Giants game last week. Was like we didn't get to see the full Dallas offense on display because they took control of the game so early. I'm gonna have to sit back on Cooks for this week. Obviously starting CD. Jake Ferguson, guys, a guy we meant to touch on, reviewing Sunday's slate last week. He got 7 targets.
Yeah.
They always target the tight end in that offense. So, guys, Jake Ferguson is a tight end to go pick up off your waiver wires if you like rostering 2 tight ends. A guy that I think is going to have viable weeks, no doubt about it. A guy that's athletically very talented.
Yeah, he could get easily. I could see him being a new Dalton Schultz. And Schultz at the end of last season was absolutely electric.
Right. Once Dak came back, he was very good.
Right.
So, I mean, that covers everything for this game, guys. Not looking good for the Jets, but Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, you're obviously starting them.
Just one more thing to add. I like that Jets plus 9.5. I think this is a tight game just because the defenses are so solid.
Right.
I'm taking Dallas overall.
Yeah.
And if I'm a Brandon Cooks owner, I'm not looking to get him into my lineup this matchup, certainly down the line.
Yeah. He's going to be good down the line. It's just you want to see that offense in full mode.
Right.
Know?
And maybe even a week after this game because the Jets they're going to be one of the best defenses.
Yeah. So moving to Denver, guys, going to Mile High. My Washington Commanders are coming to visit. 3.5 point spread in favor of Denver, so Denver's slightly favored. 38.5 over under. Not gonna be a high scoring game, obviously. 2 very solid defenses. I'm not looking to start Sam Howell. I know I was kind of high on him. I think he's a solid bench quarterback. Not looking to start him this week against a great Denver defense. Brian Robinson, I think is going to be one of those guys that's like a fringe flex play every single week against a tough Denver defense. I can still see him getting it done because we do like to pound the ball on the ground. I don't mind you flexing him in your lineup, obviously, unless you have certain studs to play. But Robinson, I think, is a solid flex play. Those receivers, though, for Washington are going to be a bit of a headache, I feel like.
Yeah, so Jahan Dotson, you starting him?
I would flex him, but guys, when you asked me about Zay Flowers and Dotson, I was higher on Flowers, so it's like, if if he's your wide receiver 3 though, and that's your flex guy, like play him. Howell likes Dotson. I do expect a bigger output from McLaurin. I think with him busting last week, he's due to put up a solid output this week. So
Yeah.
I like McLaurin this week, even though he might see a lot of Patrick Surtain. But with Eric Bieniemy scheming things up, I think there's no way McLaurin's not in the fold. That's how I look at it. Logan Thomas, I think, is a sneaky play here. Saw him put up a good output last week.
Mm-hmm.
So was he your sleeper?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
Good call, man. But yeah, I mean, I like Logan Thomas. I think for an inexperienced quarterback, we say this over and over again, a tight end is an inexperienced quarterback best friend. So I like him. I like both the defenses in this matchup. Should be relatively low scoring. On Denver side of things, not sure I'm starting Russ this week. He looked all right last week. Not super explosive, but again, 2 good defenses, so I'm not looking to start Russ.
Nope.
What's your opinion on the running backs? Javonte and P. Ryan.
Yeah. Javonte, I think you can play. Piron, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would flex Javonte because he put up a bigger output than what you and I both expected. So
Yeah.
very good to see out of him. I would flex Cortland Sutton too. I do think. Well, okay. I'm not like super high on him because, as I said, like Washington's defense is good. I think Sutton's gonna get good volume. I think he has good opportunity. I like him as a player. I think he's a solid flex play. Not super high, but certainly has a good floor.
Yeah, I think he had like the third or fourth most end zone, and red zone targets last year,
Yeah.
and only had 2 touchdowns.
Right.
I mean, we're already seeing that come back to average because I think he was tied with like Alan Lazard and someone else. They had like 11 and 6 touchdowns
Right.
respectively.
Was it DK?
Yeah,
think
but
it-
DK had.
DK had 6 touchdowns last year.
Yeah,
I think
so
that was him.
yeah, I forget the exact stat, but
Nonetheless,
to the point,
yeah.
he's gonna start to see those touchdowns come up. So I actually do like Cortland Sutton, even if Judy's back. Honestly, I
Right,
think
I
Cortland
do
Sutton's
too.
a good flex play, but I don't expect too much out of Russ.
Yeah. I mean, I just think it's gonna be a low scoring game.
Yeah, that too.
Anything else? Besides
Greg Dulcich obviously
he's
is
out.
injured,
Yeah, so
out. So they're
Trotman,
bringing up Adam Trotman, who looks a little bit more promising than Greg Dulcich.
yeah, he's a
honestly.
solid player. I mean, we saw him have some good games in New Orleans the past few years. Familiar in that Peyton offense, like we said. Not really looking to start him, although we did see Zach Ertz get a big output last week against Washington in terms of targets and receptions. So if you're in dire need of a tight end, Adam Trotman is not the worst thing you could do, in my opinion.
Yeah, but also
Proceed
looking
with
back
caution.
at it, like I wouldn't suggest playing like 3 of the Broncos offensive players,
No.
like receivers here. So maybe I go back on that. Well, we didn't say start Trotman.
I mean,
I
yeah, I'm
wouldn't-
not
I
saying
wouldn't
start
play-
Trotman. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, if you're in dire need for some reason of a tight end, like, there's certainly, like, guys, Jake Ferguson, Jawan Johnson, guys like that are much better options than Adam Trotman.
Right. So yeah, Cortland Sutton. I think we can stick with the
Yeah,
Cortland Sutton.
Cortland Sutton, Javonte
flex.
Williams.
Javonte Williams.
Who you taking?
Jerry Judy. I'd have to see what I actually placed.
I'm taking Washington, guys.
I
You know
think
where I
took,
sit.
I think I took Washington money line.
You know where
And
I sit.
I'll
Double down. Come on. Spit it out.
man.
Gonna be a tight one. They're waiting.
I'll go with.
Our jobs are on the line.
I'll go. No one's paying us. I'll go with Washington. I'll reluctantly go with Washington. I will reluctantly go with Washington. If Judy's playing, it makes me a little bit
rides
less.
on Jerry Judy.
It makes me a little bit less confident. Well, that's gonna be the wide receiver one there.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But yeah, I'll
Alright,
reluctantly
alright.
take Washington.
All right, next game.
Reluctantly take Washington.
Miami going into New
Reluctantly
England.
being the key word there.
Miami going into New England. Miami's gonna, starting to obviously that was a big headline last week. Him and Tyreek, starting Tyreek. Keep an eye on Jalen Waddle, guys, aiding an oblique injury right now. Nothing big. Just keep an eye on him if you're a Waddle owner throughout the rest of the week. Obviously going into Sunday morning. I like all that offense. Obviously, those are the three guys. What's your opinion on the running back situation there? Because I know you're a Mostert owner.
Yeah, I'm playing Mostert.
Okay.
I think Mostert's a must play this week. And if he wasn't picked up, he should have been picked up in your leagues.
Yeah.
We didn't mention him as a waiver wire pickup because I think
I feel
it
like,
was
I kind of
self-evident.
assume that he's rostered in a good majority of 12-man leagues.
Yeah, so Mostert, if he's not picked up and you're in one of those deeper league or one of those more shallow leagues, I think you can go ahead and pick him up.
Yeah.
8-Chain hasn't stepped up yet. I think as the season progresses, he could start to step up a little bit more, but still a rookie guy, and it's going to be a little bit before he actually takes a big role to where I'm concerned about Mostert.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jeff Wilson was on PUP, so he's not going to be playing.
Or IR, I forget which one. But
right.
Nonetheless.
The Dolphins, man, I mean, even Craycraft and Barrios looked good.
Yeah.
Like, I was literally sitting there earlier today.
You're definitely watching that.
Should I pick up Craycraft? Like, is he going to be the guy? Because he got the touchdown.
There's just a lot of volume in that offense.
There's so much volume and so much downfield threat that it opens up the underneath for people like Durham Smythe, for Craycraft, and for Barrios. Like, it's hard to recommend picking up one of them because I think they're all just going to produce due to the fact that they'll be so, like, open.
I agree. New England side of things?
Yeah, okay. I'm not going to, just to end that, though, I'm not going to pick any of them up.
Yeah.
Just it's pretty crazy how good their offense is.
So moving to New England side of things. So, guys, this is only a 3-point spread in favor of Miami. Kind of surprising. 46.5 over under. I think Vegas likes what they saw out of New England last week against Philly. I do kind of like Mac Jones in this matchup playing at home. What we saw him do last week on Philly's defense, put up over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. So that was very encouraging to see out of Mac Jones with Bill O'Brien back in the fold at the offensive coordinator spot. I like Mac Jones this week. I'm not saying, start him over if you have a top guy, but I think he's a solid stream play if you're in that position right now. Obviously, Ramondre's a start. Zeke's not on my fantasy lineup radar right now. There's just nothing to be excited about really. Kendrick Bourne, guys, big waiver wire pickup. I would say go get him. 6 receptions, 64 yards, 2 touchdowns. He could be in for a big year. We saw him kind of out of the fold last year, but with Bill O'Brien back in, more of an open offense, passing friendly. Kendrick Bourne could greatly benefit. He's a very talented guy, just has not exactly found his role in New England. But I would certainly recommend picking him up from the waiver wires. What's your opinion on Hunter Henry this week?
I would not play him.
Yeah, he's due. It's almost like he's due to bust now,
to
but
come back. Yeah, I mean, you see
are you
games
gonna put
like
him as
this
your
from
bust
Hunter
again?
Henry, and this is what Hunter Henry does, and it's
ever
what he's
since
always
San Diego.
done.
Yeah,
like he shows so much promise. He's such a talent, and then he just doesn't do anything for the next couple weeks.
right.
And I think this is one of those weeks.
All right. Who you taking? Miami?
Yeah, I'm taking Miami here,
Yeah,
and I like
same.
the spread of -3 as well.
Yeah, same. A game I know you want to talk about a lot. New Orleans going into Carolina. I'll let you take the reins, starting us off with New Orleans.
Okay, so New Orleans looked really fun last week, and 2 Monday night games, which is gonna be.
Yes.
I wonder if they're gonna play Red Zone on Monday night. That'd be interesting. But probably not.
No, because they'll have both of them on at the same
Right.
time.
Okay, yeah, that would be cool though. Derek Carr is someone I think you can pick up this week. Someone
J.C.
you
Horn
can
is
start.
out.
So I mean, we mentioned Mac Jones as a pickup. I'd take Derek Carr. I'd take Jared Goff. As you said, there's better people to pick up. If you're in a super deep league, like say a 14-man league, Mac Jones is someone you can look at.
Yeah.
But for most other leagues, you're probably staying away from him. I like Derek Carr. I like Olave. I like Jamal Williams this week. I don't mind Michael Thomas as a
I like
flex
all
play.
3 of those receivers.
And I don't mind Rashid Shaheed. I wouldn't go ahead and start Rashid Shaheed or flex him, but I don't mind it.
Okay, so as a Rashid owner, it is one of those situations where he looked great, 5 receptions, 89 yards, 2 rushes for 11 yards, got the receiving touchdown too. But it's one of those things I want to see what that spread looks like on a week-to-week basis. Is this just a fluke and he's going to end up with 2 targets this week or something like that? I do think he's too explosive of a player to not garner targets, so I do think he's going to have a good overall season. He's obviously a lower-end flex. I do like Michael Thomas more than him on a week-to-week basis, but I think Shaheed's going to be a very talented player. With Derek Carr being as much of a slinger as he is, I think it plays straight into Shaheed's strengths.
Yeah, that's great for Shaheed. It's great for Olave too, which is awesome.
Absolutely.
Michael Thomas will not be here the whole season. We know something's gonna happen, so Shaheed definitely takes a step up once that happens.
Start New Orleans defense. Jawan Johnson is a good streaming option at tight end if your guy has a bad matchup. If you drafted one of those fringe tight end ones, your guy has a bad matchup this week. I got no issue starting Jawan Johnson. He's a very talented player. You hit it with Jamal Williams. Carolina, though, guys, you're not starting Bryce Young. I would start Miles Sanders, though, with caution. This is a great New Orleans defense. I do think Miles Sanders, though, volume's king, guys. He's that obvious RB1 in that offense. I think he's gonna give you solid production. Nothing crazy, but
Not a great week last week. Not exactly the role you wanted to see out of him. It's still early.
You got 18 rushes. It's just the snap share that was worrisome.
Yeah, he was used when he was in, so that's always a good thing. And maybe that's just getting used to the offense, getting some early runs in. Yeah, Miles Sanders, you're certainly starting.
I'm not starting any of those receivers, though. I'm not starting any of those receivers personally.
Yeah.
And Hayden Hurst, though, guys, we mentioned him earlier. A guy that you should go pick up as tight end. Seems to happen like this every year. Last year, you and I were both seem to be dropping him, picking him up every week.
Yeah.
As a streaming option. He's a talented guy. So with a rookie quarterback, again, guys, a tight end is always a favorite for a young QB. So I like Hayden Hurst there as a streamer, just like Jawan Johnson.
Hayden Hurst this year is definitely better than Hayden Hurst last year.
Yes, because he doesn't have nearly as much target competition.
Right.
Who are you taking? I like New Orleans.
Yeah, I'm taking New Orleans here. I would take their spread as well. I think that this is gonna be. I don't think this game's gonna be very close.
That's how I'm seeing it too.
I mean, New Orleans defense is very good.
Yeah.
Bryce Young did not look that impressive against an Atlanta Falcons defense that's not that great either. Yeah, I would take the -3 there too.
Right. And guys, something to take note of, I kind of mentioned it. J.C. Horn is out, the star corner for the Panthers, so you're opening up the floodgates for Carr and those 3 receivers. I really like all of them. If you need to start Shaheed, I got no issue with it at the end of the day. Moving into our second Monday night game, another AFC North matchup. Always a brutal game, always a good game to watch. Cleveland going into Pittsburgh should be an interesting game. Pittsburgh got blown out last week, but going back into the Steel City, I think they got a chip on their shoulder. I think Mike Tomlin's pissed off. The Steelers always seem to beat the Browns too. It's one of those things. So I would start Deshaun Watson, honestly. I don't mind him in this matchup considering what we saw from that defense last week. I mean, I am expecting a rebound, but I like what I saw with Watson from his legs. 5 rushes, 45 yards, a touchdown, guys. That's very encouraging. His arm and decision making did not look great, but I think you drafted him as a higher end guy. Go ahead and start him. Obviously Nick Chubb as a Chubb owner, guys, no brainer. You're starting him. Those receivers though. Obviously Amari Cooper is going to be in your lineup. Elijah Moore's interesting to me though. I have him on my team, guys. Got good touches last week.
He did.
Actually paced a team in terms of receiving yards, which was nothing to brag about. It was only 43 yards, but 3 receptions, 7 targets, I believe. Had a few rushes for 19 yards. So the ways that they're obviously trying to get him the ball, which is very encouraging. If you're an Elijah Moore owner, that's what you like to see. That's kind of what we expected this year. So he's not really on my lineup radar right now, but someone who on a week-to-week basis I think can be a spot start for you in terms of injuries, bad matchups, that sort of thing. David Njoku's a start. He's one of the better tight ends in the league. You got to start him.
Yeah, Njoku and Freiermuth
yes,
are both starts here. For me, Deshaun Watson's a little bit tricky. I like some of the streamers that you can get this week a little bit more than Deshaun Watson against the Steelers defense.
So I would agree with that. Like I do think it would be hard for me to bench him if I drafted him. I don't have any shares of him. But I do like, again, Derek Carr, Jared Goff are 2 guys just off the top of my head that I like more than Watson this week.
Yeah, I definitely more than Mac Jones.
Yeah.
More than
I mean, you could even play Purdy
no one's
over.
deciding between Prescott and Deshaun Watson, but that'd be interesting.
Yeah, that would be. I'm not playing. I'm not gonna
Okay,
play.
yeah, Purdy.
Yeah.
Purdy or Deshaun.
That's tight. I'd probably lean Deshaun just off of pure talent. The Rams defense did look good last week too, so that's an interesting one though. Not opposed to starting either of those guys though. Not starting Kenny Pickett this week. I want to see more of that before you start him. I don't think he's a bad bench stash as your QB2. I'm starting Najee Harris. He's my third round, my number 3 running back on my team. Drafted him in the 3rd round. So I'm starting him. Have high hopes of a rebound for the overall team, including Najee. Those receivers, though, going to be interesting without Deontay Johnson. Big note, guys, Allen Robinson was the last pick of our fantasy draft, Mr. Irrelevant for our fantasy draft. Ended up with 7 receptions and 87 yards. What, you don't like it?
Just Allen Robinson, man.
I like me some Allen Robinson. I would say he's a waiver wire pickup. Just to have him as if he's the last guy on your bench, dude, I think that's a solid pickup to have. If he can bounce back this year, that'd be huge. You can tell how he feels about him.
I mean, I agree with what you're saying.
I think
so begrudgingly.
I know.
Just like,
yeah.
I really gotta pick up Allen Robinson.
I do think Pickens is a flex start this week. With Deontay Johnson out, I think he's gonna get. I think we could see this could be the week where we see that Pickens or Pickett to Pickens connection.
Yeah.
And then, as Carter stated, Freiermuth is a start. Anything else you got to add besides who you're taking in this one?
I'm taking. Man, this is a tough one too.
You know who I'm taking?
You're taking Pittsburgh.
Yep. Bounce back in Pittsburgh.
I'm gonna take. Yeah, I can't see Pittsburgh going.
I can't see Pittsburgh losing this.
Yeah, in their home stadium.
Yeah.
Which is something I always forget about. So I'll take it into account for this one. Yeah, I'm going to go Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh against a Browns team that looked good against the Bengals, but I think that was just an anomaly game.
All right, that wraps things up for our Sunday/Monday night slate, guys. 2 Monday night games this week. Going to be fun. So, guys, hope you got a lot of streaming options. Waiver wire pickups yet again. I know we gave you that in our last video. Got your picks, guys that we like, guys that we don't. Again, if you have for your lineup, if you guys have questions of who to start, please comment below. We'd love to give you some insight on what we like. And when you're doing that, guys, give us more than just like 2 guys. Help us understanding what your team looks like in terms of running backs, receivers. That's typically what you're going to come asking us. That sort of stuff, guys. So full transparency, just as much information as you can give us allows us to make a much better decision.
Yeah, the more informed we are, just the more informed we are, the more we're going to be able to help. Right. And we can help you put together some packages, stuff like that.
Yeah, if you're looking for trade packages too, or if you have trades proposed to you, please, ask us what we think. Ultimately, guys, you're going to make your own decision, but we would love to help you, give you some analysts on that, or an analysis on that. So
analyst. I feel like that should be a word.
We are the analyst. We're the analyst analyzing.
Analyst, is that a word?
Yeah. I'm an analyst.
No, like analyst. Like that was my
analysis.
I'm gonna give you
my analysis.
But that was his analyst.
That was his analysis.
That should
we can start that.
I think analyst should be a word.
We can start that.
For some reason,
there's my analyst.
There's a use for analyst somewhere in the English language.
Guys, give me your start decisions or questions so that I can give you my analyst.
Yeah.
My analysis. All right, guys. Give them the spiel.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, please like and subscribe. Comment down below. If you have any questions like we were just talking about.
Our analyst is available.
Yeah, we will give you our analyst about that. Thank you and have a good day.
Peace.
Peace.